from like a black person. You know what I'm saying? I want to see other conversations besides, oh, we came from the hood and all of that other stuff. And it somehow I got on YouTube, and when I typed that in, intellectual conversations from a black person, right? Which sounds crazy. I end up getting to this video that talks about getting real about race, and you know what I'm saying, and how we basically, go about things. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna share the video. I'm gonna chop it up so you guys can get the video right on the spot. So it's not gonna be all this extra talking. But this is basically the podcast that I was listening to. So here's the thing about it. When they was talking about this on this podcast, they brought up the conversation about how, like, with the elections and everything like that, you had, conservatives and you had liberals who basically wasn't even taking the time to, most people wasn't taking the time to actually hear each other out. Everybody just wanted to be right. And it was to the point where it was like, no, you guys are this, you're that, and all that other stuff, right? Because most people, when they looked at the whole political spectrum of what was going on, if you supported Democrats, you were a pedophile. If you supported Republicans, you had to be a racist. You know what I'm saying? And people wasn't really having those conversations that needed to be had because it was so much heat in the middle of that. And so let's take it back. Let's go back to what was happening with that. And this guy had actually pointed out a really good thing. And I want you guys to actually hear what it is that he said. So here, let me go ahead and pull up that video.
Yeah. So we all come from different places and different ministries and different experiences, but we all find here our chemistry and our connection to people who believe in what we believe and share the same values. And again, if I was going back to try to find something that just because of the way I look and find people that look like me and assume that I share the same values, that never works. It doesn't matter, again, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, values and skin color do not automatically agree. That's not the same thing. And so for me to find a place that I knew my values were shared and I could continue to work on myself, and again, like I go back to what you said, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I do need to shift some things. Maybe I do need to change some things. That spirit is what I think is missing. That's why we have the flashpan effect, because the people stopped and said, from every walk of life, from conservative to liberal, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. Those three words would have fixed a ton of things last year. And of course, that's not what happened.
And the fact that our kids work together today, okay? They've been in relationship for...
Now, there was another quote that he had put in there that I want you guys to hear also, where he talked about, like, the whole pulling back, like, it was like the Band-Aid. It was like the Band-Aid effect. Like, it was like, I'm hurt. And so it was like everybody was talking about real issues, but it was like, even though when resolving those issues, it was like people just kept, backtracking in a sense, where it was like, no, but I was scarred from this. So it's like, where do we go from this point? All right, so I want to actually play that to you guys.
There was a picture in my head of a person on the operating table, right? And so I'm thinking of a doctor coming in and operating. You've been there. You've been there. And I'm thinking of a person then outside of that operating table yelling at the person on the table and the doctor, hey, no, that's not the way you're supposed to do it. This is the way this is what happened to me last time. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. And what I see is I see people barging into the operating room where God is working on people's hearts legitimately. Like you said, if I've been pulled over, if I've been a victim of oppression, if I've been a victim, don't come in and tell me how I'm supposed to heal. But here's the problem. When I keep rehearsing my pain, the healing never gets finished. Never. So we've had people barging in on people that are getting healed, and we've had people that are healed that are rehearsing their injury, rehearsing their wounds. And instead of getting off the operating table, now I'm healed. Now they're ripping off the bandage and saying, look where I got scarred. And I think you've got to have a balance. We have to have people that, again, we've seen the past. And like I said, I'm so appreciative of you addressing the issue, because I love the fact that we're not scared of it. I wrote this down in my notes for another thing, that God's not scared of arguments.
No.
God is not like, oh no, what if they jump into that racial thing and they find out that the church has not always been perfect about racism? And I'm like, God's not worried about that. He handled Jews and Samaritans with no problem. One of the most divisive cultural things, he sent the Son of God in the middle of a culture war and a race war and had no problem talking to the Samaritan woman. So God is not scared of this issue. And so what I really love is, again, is what you said, is that we can look at real problems without rehearsing and then letting the next generation become enslaved. I hate the word to use. I use the word enslaved to that same mentality. That's the key. It's not that we didn't know it happened. It's, are we going to become chained to it?
Yeah.
And I've lived my life, Pastor, honestly. This is, I mean, it's on a podcast, so it's on wax now. I can't help. I've lived my life in a way that I've said I will never be chained up to what I thought the past was supposed to be, nor what I believe the future is going to be. I want to live openly so that my future is always ahead of me, wide open, new things possible for me. I'm not going to be, because the old me, both the things that happened to me and the things that I made happen, if I just let that sit on me for the rest of my life, my past is, like you said, my future is going to be totally linked to that.
No.
And I can't let that happen. As a culture, again, I can't speak for every African American. I can speak for myself. I'm not going to let that happen. Now, do I need to heal from some things? Sure. Do we need to heal for some things? Sure. But I'm not going to rip the bandage off of the healing once it takes place. And that's what I think we need to allow us. I think it's what's happening in our church. I think we watch that healing. Every time I have a conversation with another gentleman or another woman, say, you know what? I love what's happening over there. Or I felt this way. And like you said, there's going to be problems in relationships. Like the idea that we're going to be able to sit at this table.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I definitely wanted to share that with you guys. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, the thing about that is that's what I'm starting to understand. And a lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of my black friends, a lot of my black family are not going to agree with what it is that I'm about to say. But even when it comes to the whole slavery thing, I feel like at some point we got to drop it. Even when it comes to the whole, reparations thing, I feel like we got to drop it. Because at the end of the day, you do realize that everybody is waiting on that one moment for black people to receive reparations, and it's going to be complete chaos, right? Because at that point in time, they're going to feel like everybody who is outside of being white, and even people who are white, feel like they didn't get a fair shake, right? Now, the thing about this is for us to sit here and always complain about the fact that we don't have certain things because we was brought into this family and this family didn't have this and this and that. As long as we continue to keep on, attacking at that and keep on going off of that type of way of thinking, it's always going to be division in this country. It's always going to be division because we always feel entitled to something. We always feel entitled to something. We always feel like we didn't get a fair shake. And until we get that fair shake, we're going to be angry about something. And I think that at the end of the day, the best thing for us to do is to be able to sit here and work hard, develop the things that we need to have, and be in communication with each other and stop looking at each other based off of this color stuff. Stop looking at each other based off of who had opportunities to do this, who had opportunities to do that. Because at the end of the day, you want to know the people who are not fighting amongst each other is the people who have all this wealth, right? Because they're sitting here looking at the people that's on the bottom like, listen, we don't want you guys to come up here because at the end of the day, we're content where we are. And guess what? All of those people are mixed in. They have all types of races, all types of nationalities, all of that stuff. They've got it. They understand. They don't care about all that racism stuff. They don't care about all of that unless it's bringing wealth to them. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll promote it. But trust me, look at the alliance of those people and you'll understand that all of this weird stuff that people are down here fighting over and all of this stuff that means nothing is pointless. We need to drop it. We need to let go of it and build up to be better people. And that's what I believe. So let's go ahead and go into this whole Superman thing. You know what I'm saying? I want to jump right back on that. And I actually got another video about that. You know what I'm saying? I got plenty of videos. We can go down a whole rabbit hole list. You know what I'm saying? I watched one of the newer ones today, and this one was from a YouTube girl, and she actually was talking about how, let me pause this. She was actually talking about how, like, a lot of this stuff is done through the media as a way of promoting, just like what I was saying in the beginning of the video, just as a way to get attention to a certain topic. And they want to get people riled up. They want to get the conversations going. They want the craziness. They want all of that type of stuff. They don't give a crap about the whole LGBT thing and all this other stuff. It's about boosting their numbers. You know what I'm saying? So let me go ahead and get into a conversation. I'm going to share the clip with you guys on what it is that she spoke about.
So this guy, again, is the writer for the new Superman comic, and so he did this little interview over on CNN. Now, I'll be completely transparent. I have absolutely no interest in politics. I do not watch CNN. I do not watch any of the big news channels. If I want to find out about a news story, I will go and do the research myself. So, I hadn't really witnessed firsthand the way that they cherry pick information until today, especially with this, which I thought was, very, very, basically a load of crap, like I say in my tweet. But so for those of you, if you missed my last video, the link for it is in the description of this video. But basically what happened was this dude decided to turn Superman gay and make him do this, and this is the big thing that all of the wokies are like praising, like, yes, hashtag slay queen, because he made Superman gay, or I should say bi, right? But just to clarify though, because the way that they are talking about this is as if this is Clark Kent. This is not Clark Kent. This is Clark Kent's son, Jonathan Kent, okay? But the way that they talk about it, even though they know that this is Jonathan Kent, they talk about it as if he is Clark Kent or Kal-El, and then they laugh at people that aren't reading these comics, that are just reacting to this information like a lot of normies would, because that's exactly why they do these kind of things, is to get an instant reaction, to have their 5 minutes of fame, so that way people will talk about it, so people will buy their books. So they purposely do this to, confuse normies. And then they're like, oh, look at you, you're so stupid. It's like, well, you're not introducing this as Clark, or as Jonathan Kent. The way that you're doing it is trying to manipulate people into thinking that it's Clark Kent. And yeah, people are like, well, isn't Clark Kent, like, in love with Lois Lane? And, aren't they married? Didn't you guys do that? So why'd all of a sudden you make him gay? And they're like, haha, this isn't Clark Kent. You're stupid. Ha ha ha. But so, and that's kind of what my tweet is calling out. So I'm going to play you guys this clip. And remember, this is the guy that's writing Superman talking.
You know what I'm saying? So pretty much like I was saying from the beginning, the whole bottom line is to generate views. It's whatever's going to bring in traffic. And I actually asked myself this question. I asked my fiance this a couple days ago. I said, what about, when you look at the world, right? And you see all the negative stuff that goes on and everything like that, and people genuinely say that negative attention generates more traffic or attention than positive information, right? So when you look at that, I always wonder, what if being positive was more profitable? Then they would push more positivity. But it's for the pure fact that being negative and negative information is so profitable that they're going to keep continuing to push that, because it's about, like I said, at the end of the day, it's about the bottom line. So let's go ahead and jump into another video. This is a video from Kwame Brown, and most people who know Kwame Brown know that he's very uncensored, and he says whatever it is that he feels. And I will sit there and say that I actually did vote for Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to hide that. I actually did vote for Joe Biden, just with the intent of just getting Trump out of there, because I didn't like the negativity that was coming along with Trump, because I heard a lot of people being like, yo, go back to your country. And it's just like, oh, who are you talking to like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, it was just disrespectful, because I felt like it wasn't just the people at the border that was receiving those conversations or those type of, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't even say it was like insults, you know what I'm saying? That was receiving that type of insults from other people saying, yo, go back to where you came from. There was a lot of other people that was receiving that. So the hate was being spreaded, and I didn't like the fact that it was starting to be generated. And I noticed that he was the one who was sitting there saying, well, we have good people on both sides. It's like, nah, there's some real crazy stuff going down, and you need to address it. And it's not about taking sides with anybody. It's about saying, hey, yo, we got to knock this out. As people, we gotta knock this out. You can't be out here doing this type of stuff. Like, we got to be better than that. I just think that the diffusion of all the negativity wasn't happening under a person that considered themselves to be a president of law and order. That's where I stood from where I saw it. But like I said, even with the whole Joe Biden situation, I felt like once we needed to get to that person, we'll go ahead and get on his ass just like we did with Trump. But that's how I felt about that situation. Do I think Joe Biden's a great president? Absolutely not. The guy's fucking horrible. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language, but the guy is horrible. So Kwame Brown spoke on a couple things